Okay, so today's video we are back with the Mint Green 500 2015 1.2 lounge. It's probably been sat for around a month, something like that. Still waiting on the V5 to appear from the DVLA. I have had a letter to tell me that it is due to be sorted on the 1st of March, which means that they've had the paperwork for 6 weeks, something like that. So it's been a long turnaround for them on this one. But anyway, what we are going to do is we need to sort out down here, which you can see I've already started to rub back, and we also need in here to get behind here to get to that Bluetooth module. So I'm going to start taking apart the seating area, because we're going to have to get this panel removed, which I've never done before. So it's going to be an interesting experience. And then my understanding is that this Bluetooth module is riveted in here. So I'm going to at least try and get it started. We are in the latter part of the afternoon, so we're going to start losing the sun soon. But yeah, hopefully we can get this all done before the paperwork arrives, and then we could be good to go. So what are we going to need? A couple of bolts, screws down there. Going to need to remove this here. Yeah, right. Okay, let's get it started. Right, so Love 500 did a video, Paul did a video on this. It's all about unbolting and then unscrewing. So need to remove the seats. Then you're talking screwdriver. There's a Phillips screwdrivers for a couple of bolts, or a couple of screws down here, and then at the back here as well. And then just needs unclipping. And then once you sort of threaded the seat belt and you've done the pre-tensioner down there, then you're going to have to drill out the rivet, which produces your Bluetooth module attached to this piece of metal here. Right, so the new one's in, and I've tested it. Always good to test these things, isn't it? Before you start putting everything back together. And the mileage isn't flashing anymore. And when you hit the Windows key, we have the lovely lady talking to us. So we're going to need to reattach this with the 3 screws or rivets, whatever you want to use. Get that on, and then we can start putting all of this back together again. Actually, might need to clear up all these shavings here. So yeah, it's definitely not, I don't know, it's probably good if you've got this, if you know, unfortunately with me, there's just a whole bowl of different sizes, but that takes a while just trying to find the right one. But ultimately you can relatively do this probably in, I'd say, allow up to 2 hours to get it done, and that will sort it out. But yeah, so let's get on with putting everything back. And we found a whole load of pencils down here and a 10p coin, so I'm now 10p up more on this project. Right, with the Bluetooth that's in there and all sorted comes the task of sorting out the flashing mileage. I thought it would automatically fix it, but it would appear that we still have to do the proxy alignment. So hopefully that's going to work. But basically, if I just turn this on, probably need the sound on actually. Let's just try that again. You can see it flashes up. Bear with me. See if she talks. Please make a selection. There we go. So it does work. We just got to get rid of that flashing mileage. So multi-ECU scan. We'll do a proxy alignment. Okay, so we're in the right setting to get this done. Hopefully we're not going to face with any problems. There's always a worry. Always a worry that it doesn't do it, and then you're stuck with a flashing mileage, because flashing mileage generally just comes from stuff that you can't necessarily sort out. Got another airbag module failure again, so that's the second car that I've had on that one, which is a bit peculiar. Don't understand the reason behind that. So it says it's out of range. I don't get it. I don't get it. And it won't. It seems to sort of execute various things. It says various things are successful. So you think it's done some sort of writing, and then he comes to the airbag module. If you can't write to it or pick it up, then you know it's not a problem, because that's what I'm interested in. So we'll do it once more. Airbag node out of range. I'll let it do it again, and I'll turn it off, and then we'll see if it's done anything. Right. Okay. Right. Give it a few seconds. Don't flash, don't flash, don't flash, don't flash, don't flash. Have we sorted it? Okay, so touch wood, there is none in the car. The mileage has been sorted. The proxy alignment has worked, even though the airbag node says it can't communicate with that, but we have sorted it. So let's just check to make sure this works. Pairing. Please make a selection. Oh, there you go. Or say right. No. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, we have sorted that out. No. Cancel. Okay. That is one thing to do. Done. We can shut this off. And my next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the radio get this out, I'm just going to replace this with this here, which kindly has been sold to me by Chris Fisher, who's provided me with a whole lot. So I'm just going to swap the whole thing out. It's going to be easier, and then I can potentially use this one for parts, because I'm not going to bother with faffing around with getting this one out to put in here. Just going to go for a straight swap. So I think I've done videos on this. You just remove these two and these two, you pull out, you put in the audio pins, it unclips this. Behind here is 2 screws, undo those, this clips out, and away we go. It is a pretty simple and easy job. So yeah, also actually whilst I'm on here, I need to see whether or not that's working. Right, we need to get behind here because there's no lights on, so we need to do that. So sort this out and get behind here to put in the light. So that's today's job. Oh, right, got another problem. So when you put these in, like so, that goes really far in, as you can see. There's no real clicking. I can't get that in any further, but it just comes straight out. And likewise with this one, put that in, that doesn't even go in half the distance, as you can see from the other. Try and push that in. That actually hurts my hand, but look, just comes straight out. For some reason it's not clicking in. I can't even get one of them to click in. It's really annoying. So I'm gonna have to think whether I leave this and try my very best to get this all lined up and to remove that from there. I didn't want to do it, really didn't want to do it, but there's literally no other way I can do it at all, because I can't get this out without removing this, and this is totally stuck. Right, eventually got this done. My god, it was really difficult this time. I think just really for those that are planning to do it, when you put in the clips like this, the key, as we've found out, is if you put it in too far, all it's got to do is just hit this here, and then you pull it out to the outside, and then it pushes on this. Sorry, it's not focusing. But if you put it in too far, you see, you completely miss the clip. So yeah, not the best system in the world, but we managed to get it done. The new one is in as well. So just got to screw that back in, then this can clip back into place. Okay, it's all back into place. That's all back. This pulled out actually a lot easier than some of the other ones that I've had. I just tend to either use a trim tool and literally just go in here and then just start to lever it. I tend to use some sort of cloth behind it just to avoid marking up the dash here. And then strangely, both those lights were out when this came off, but earlier that one was working. So, but anyway, they've all been changed, so that's working, that's in, and other than a little tiny clean up of things like this around the seat, the interior is now done. And yeah, the only thing we've really got to do now is just work on that rear quarter. Okay, we're going to start work on the rear quarter. Let's sit down and have a look at this. So first off, it's this here, which you can feel there's an ever so slight bump there. You can also see there's a bit of a graze there, but generally it's here, so we're gonna just slightly feel that. And then up here is the worst part. We're gonna try and get behind here to pull this out, because when you look at it, this isn't just a graze. You can see that it's dented in, and I want to make the best I can before I then start to fill it out. I don't want that to literally be thick of filler. If I can pull this out, then I can have a thinner layer as well. So yeah. So we're going to remove the inner liner so I can get underneath, and then we're going to try and release the inner liner and get something up behind that. So yeah. Right, gonna make sure I set this up, and then we're gonna have a go. Okay, it's had 3 layers so far. I think this one's going to be pretty much done, and then this one is just slowly building up. Unfortunately, because we're not in the right weather, it's just taking longer to solidify, but slowly getting there. Okay, I think we are going to be good to go for paint on this. I have sanded back and got that pretty much the best I'm going to get that, I reckon. We went with some body filler and then some dolphin glaze, and then we sanded it from I think 400 up to 800 to get it reasonably smooth, and then we'll just need to put in the primer. So not too worried about this part, that's very minor, but that is not too bad. That's better than I expected, to be fair. So we're going to have to do this whole sort of that there. I really didn't want to encroach too much onto there, because that's a nice body line to go with. But yeah, it's not too bad for someone who doesn't do this as a profession. I'm reasonably happy with that one, and obviously it looks a lot better than what it was. So unfortunately we are in a spell of having 8-9 degrees, and it probably even feels even colder than that. So for painting wise, it's not great, but we will get around to doing that. Right, put on the primer, and at the moment it's not too bad. Doesn't look too bad. I always worry a bit with the primer that once you start adding the primer, it gives you a better idea about exactly the shape of the panel, because I kind of feel that filler kind of masks exactly how it looks, but at the moment it's not too bad. So gone and primed the rear bumper part here as well, because obviously that was all scratched. So I thought we're just gonna end up doing this here. So just some very rough masking, and yeah, I'm going to let that cure overnight. Then we're going to rub it back. We're going to rub it back? Yeah, we're going to rub it back, sorry. Going to rub that back, and then we're going to get on with the painting tomorrow. Temperatures are just not great again. We're still late February now. They're still not massive, and for the next couple of weeks, again, looking at it, it's still not great either. So, but you know, we'll see what we can work with. We just heat the can up, and let's see how this turns out, really. Okay, so the paint is on. Ignore that down there. That's all dirt and everything. But the paint's gone. I just need to slightly flatten this out. Get rid of that line there with the polish. But otherwise, the colour match isn't too bad. Certainly around here it's not. So that is going to be that side done. And yeah, got to work on that sill now. Right, pulling this is going to be near impossible. It's proper hard stuff, so unless I literally create a hole in there and pull it, that's not going to happen. I don't have a welding machine either, so I'm going to do some filling to try and even it up, I think. Yeah, and take it from there, really, unfortunately, but hopefully we can do a fairly good job on it. Now, the Sill's a really difficult place to work because how I've found, and it's the first time I've really done it, which is, of course, you've got to create this straight line underneath. And this has taken some massive hits. I think one about here, and then one about here. So it's not, so when you're filling it, it's just really difficult. It is a bit of a fine art to get this exactly straight. So at the moment we're just filling. I've got help with my dad to do this one, but we're building up the layers, and then we're just gonna eventually just sand it straight and see how we go from there. We did come up with a template, which was this line here, which we were going to attach to the underneath the car, but I think we might be able to just sand it back straight, but we're just going to see how it goes. I mean, ultimately, if it just goes wrong, then you just either add more filler, or you just keep sanding it back. So and hopefully we might, it's never going to look 100%. I don't really think, given my skills, it's ever going to look 100%, but I don't really think, hopefully it's all going to come out all good. So, and then when that's done, we should be pretty much there, I reckon, on the car. I'm trying to think, just needs a good clean. Just want to get this done because they're talking about snow this week, and just want to get it all done and dusted and painted and everything, and then I can just let it cure for a bit, and then yeah, we'll be almost ready to go. Okay, in regards to the sill, I probably couldn't tell you how many layers I've done to try and get this built up. It's quite difficult working on a line, really, but also because here, this side, has taken a really big hit, so therefore it is slightly bulging as opposed to this side, but actually it's a lot better than what it was. So I've put on some primer, going to give that another coat shortly, but yeah, from up here it's not too bad at all. You know, when you're paying body shop prices, you're going to factor that into the cost of the car. So I think I've done a reasonably good job, and with every car that I have to do things on, just learning how to do it, and yeah, hopefully a couple more layers of primer and the paint will go on. Okay, I was going to say the seal. The sill has now been completed. As I say, for my first time, I'm not too happy about that. Let's ignore the fact that over there is really dirty, but here, sprayed it up to a point, lacquered it, and then we've just faded it in. So, as I say, there's a slight bulge there. It's taken a big hit on that right, but it's a lot better to what it previously was. So actually, it's now almost done. I say almost done. I've got to sort out the dash because that screen is playing up. So I can't really sort the car out until I've potentially replaced the speedo. But yeah, so that side's done. And that side's done as well now. So yeah, that's your Cat S 2015 Lounge pre-facelift. Just needs a really good clean now. It's like the white, it just, by giving it a clean, it will all come out. Oh yeah, and I've also sorted and painted down there and painted the front bumper, got rid of those scuffs there as well. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's like anything. As a Cat S, I know everyone's a bit hit and miss on it, and would you buy a Cat S and everything like that? Yes, okay, they're worth a lot less, and yes, trying to sell them is also, you know, you're not going to get your money. But actually, as a car goes, you wouldn't even know that that's a Cat S, really, would you? So yeah.